Hello, good morning and welcome to Appreciating Literature. And today we are going to see a beautiful poem by an Indian author or Indian poet. His name is Nissim Ezekiel. So let us go right into the poem. The title of the poem is The Night of the Scorpion. Here we have the picture of Nissim Ezekiel, the poet. We'll see his biography. Nissim Ezekiel was an Indian Jewish poet, playwright, editor and art critic. So he was a versatile writer. He has written poems and plays. He was also an editor and also art critic. He was a Jewish poet, that means he was a Jew. He was a foundational figure in post-colonial India's literary history, specifically for Indian writing in English. So as far as Indian writing in English is concerned, he was one of the founding member. He was awarded the Sahitya Academy Award in 1983 for his poetry collection Latter-day Psalms by the Sahitya Academy, India's National Academy of Letters. So that is the award that he got in 1983 for his poetry collection. Ezekiel was born on 16th December 1924 in Bombay, the present Mumbai. His father, Moses Ezekiel, was a professor of botany at Wilson College, and his mother was principal of her own school. So you find both his father and mother were teachers. His father was a professor, while his mother was a principal. The Ezekiels belonged to Mumbai's Jewish community known as the Bene Israel. In 1947, Ezekiel earned a BA in literature from Wilson College, Mumbai, University of Mumbai. Yes. In 1947 to 48, he taught English literature and published literary articles. After dabbling in radical politics for a while, he sailed to England in November 1948. Here, dabbling means he was engaged in politics, actually, which was not his field. He was not good at politics. But anyway, he traveled to England and he studied philosophy at Birkbeck College, London. After 3.5 years stay, Ezekiel worked his way home as a deck scrubber aboard a ship carrying arms to Indochina. So after completing his stay in England, he is coming back in a ship working as a cleaner. Deck scrubber means cleaning the deck of the ship. He married Daisy Jacob in 1952. In the same year, Fortune Press published his first collection of poetry, The Bad Day. He joined the Illustrated Weekly of India as an assistant editor in 1953 and stayed there for 2 years. So, in 1953, he is joining this famous weekly, Illustrated Weekly, as an assistant editor. Soon after his return from London, he published his second book of verse, 10 poems. For the next 10 years, he also worked as a broadcaster on art and literature for All India Radio. So he also worked in All India Radio as a broadcaster, especially in art and literature. Ezekiel's first book, The Bad Day, appeared in 1952. He published another volume of poems, The Deadly Man, in 1960. After working as an advertising copywriter and general manager of a picture frame company, he co-founded the literary monthly Jumbo in 1961. He became an art critic of the Names of India and edited Poetry India. So he has worked in various fields. First he was an advertising copywriter, then he worked as a general manager of a picture frame company. Picture frame means making frame for photos. Then he started working in that monthly called Jumbo. He was one of the founders. Then he became art critic of that magazine called The Names of India, and also edited the magazine called Poetry India. From 1961 to 72, he headed the English department of Mithibai College, Bombay. The exact name, his fifth book of poetry, was published in 1965. During this period, he held short-term tenure as visiting professor at University of Leeds and University of Pondicherry in 1967. So, as a writer, he also used to work. At the same time, he used to work as a professor, also visiting professor. And he never stopped publishing his books. He never had kind of a rest in between. He continuously wrote and published books. In 1969, Writers Workshop Kozhikode published his The Damn Place, another collection of plays must be. It was published in Kozhikode. A year later, he presented an art series of 10 programs for Indian television. So that is a program presented on TV. Of course, it was on art. In 1976, he translated Jawaharlal Nehru poetry from Marathi in collaboration with Vrinda Nabar and co-edited a fiction and poetry anthology. So he also was interested in translating the poems of Nehru. And his poem The Night of the Scorpion is used as study material in Indian and Colombian schools. His poems are used in NCERT English textbooks. So from that we can know how great this writer is. Not only in India, even abroad, his books are used as a study material. In fact, CBSE also has this poem, The Night of the Scorpion, in their textbook. So let us go to the poem, The Night of the Scorpion. I remember the night my mother was stung by a scorpion. 10 hours of steady rain had driven him to crawl beneath a sack of rice. So here the poet is starting with the first person singular, I remember. That means it is from the experience of the poet. He is collecting or recalling the experience or incident that he had once. So it was a night time, and when his mother was stung by a scorpion. And the reason why the scorpion reached home, that is because of the continuous rain. So he reached home and he was hiding beneath the sack of rice. Parting with his poison, flash of diabolic tail in the dark room, he risked the rain again. So here, after stinging the mother and injecting that poison into the mother, he is again going back into the rain, going out. So here you find kind of description there, flash of diabolic tail in the dark room. So it shows how evil that scorpion is. Flash means in a flash, it was very fast. That sting was like a lightning in the dark room. The peasants came like swarms of flies and buzzed the name of God 100 times to paralyze the evil one. Now here you find the poet is now suddenly turning towards the people, the common people, the neighbors. and how they react to this particular unfortunate event. So they are compared to kind of flies. That means they made a lot of noise. That is one of the reasons why he is comparing the people to group of flies. And bust the name. Buzzing means kind of the sound made by flies or other insects. So here he is grouping these people, the peasants, the farmers who come there as a kind of group of flies, and what they are talking or what they are chanting is the name of God. So from here you find that these people are very religious people. They believe in God and they are praying to paralyze the evil one. Here the evil one is actually the scorpion. So they are trying to make the scorpion still. Paralyze, you can't move. So almost they are cursing the scorpion and chanting the name of God continuously. With candles and with the lanterns, throwing giant scorpion shadows on the mud-baked walls, they searched for him. He was not found. So these persons, these people who came, they had candles and lanterns and all that. Those days, there was no electricity and all that. So they were carrying candles and lanterns. And these lanterns and candles produced huge shadows. And here he is again using that word scorpion shadows. So it is to create an atmosphere of fear. That's why he is using that word scorpion shadows on the mud baked walls. So the walls that were made of mud, and these people are searching for the scorpion, but unfortunately they were not able to find the scorpion anywhere. They clicked their tongues. With every movement that the scorpion made, his poison moved in mother's blood, they said. So here again the poet is highlighting the superstitions of the people. Superstition means അന്ധവിശ്വാസം. അന്ന് വില്ലേജിലുണ്ടായിരുന്ന ആൾക്കാരുടെ അന്ധവിശ്വാസമാണ് ശരിക്കും ഈ പദ്യത്തിൽ കൂടെ അദ്ദേഹം വരച്ചു കാട്ടാൻ ആഗ്രഹിക്കുന്നത്. So here one example of that superstition. They clicked their tongue. That means they made some noise with their tongues, because they thought that when the scorpion is moving, the poison also will be moving in the mother's blood, circulating fast. So that's what they thought. So they wanted the scorpion to remain still. അതായത് ഈ സ്കോർപ്പിയൻ മൂവ് ചെയ്യുന്നതോടുകൂടി അമ്മയുടെ ശരീരത്തിലെ വിഷവും അതോടുകൂടി പെട്ടെന്ന് ചലിക്കുമെന്നാണ് അവർ വിചാരിച്ചത്. May he sit still, they said. May the sins of your previous birth be burned away tonight, they said. So they are praying that this scorpion will not move, it will stay immobile for some time at least, and they are praying they are praying that the sins of the mother's previous birth will be burned away. So here you find, whenever you have a kind of unpleasant experience or pain, we would like to justify that. Sometimes we don't know the reason why this particular suffering has come to us. So we find some reasons for that. So we say that, okay, this pain is given to me by God. This suffering, it is my fate, or God wants me to suffer this. Or this another level of justifying the pain is that when I suffer this pain, this suffering will reduce my sin. That means my sins will be burned away. Sins of the previous birth. Because Hindus, they believe in rebirth. That this birth is actually a consequence of your previous birth. So whatever you did in the previous birth, you will have to suffer now. And what you are doing here in this life, you will suffer in the next birth. So that kind of cycle of birth and rebirth. So the people is hoping that this suffering or this scorpion induced pain will reduce the sins of her previous birth. May your suffering decrease the misfortunes of your next birth, they said. So your suffering now will have a better consequence in the next birth. So your misfortunes will be less, that's what, because you are suffering now. May the sum of all evil balanced in this unreal world against the sum of good become diminished by your pain. So again, it's a kind of elaboration of the first idea. That means we have got good and bad happening to our life. So at the end, the good and bad will be balanced. So depending on whether your good is more than the bad or vice versa, you will be judged. So that's what we all believe. So here he is telling that this balancing act will be in favor because the mother is suffering. So this suffering will actually increase the good that is going to be weighed against the evil at the end. May the poison purify your flesh of desire and your spirit of ambition, they said. This another way of looking at this suffering is that this poison will purify the flesh. Flesh means the desire of the flesh. That means, the worldly pleasures which are not considered as good in many religions. So this pain will somehow purify our flesh, our body of unnecessary desires and all that. And also your spirit of ambition, they said. Yes, even ambition is seen as something bad. You should not have a lot of ambition according to some religious beliefs. Not an ambition in the sense of having too much of ambition. You can have a minimum level of ambition, of course, but it should not be extraordinary ambitions or more than what is required. So these are the prayers offered by the people who are mostly illiterate, and they are mostly superstitious, and they believe too much in religion and all that. So these are the ways of thinking by these people, that this suffering will have some good effect on the mother at the end. And they sat around on the floor with my mother in the center. So now they are all sitting in a circle, and the mother is sitting in the center. The peace of understanding on each face. So the people had a peace on their faces. Why? Because they knew that this suffering of the mother will have good effect, good result. So that is why they had peace on their face. More candles, more lanterns, more neighbors, more insects, and the endless rain. So you find all those who come to know about this particular incident, they come one by one. So more people are coming with candles and lanterns. More insects also come. My father, skeptic, rationalist, trying every curse and blessing, powder mixture, herb and hybrid. So here the poet is presenting his father here. Father is entirely different. His attitude is different. His beliefs are different. Here is said skeptic. Skeptic is actually in Malayalam we say Ajnayavadi. Ajnayavadi or Samsyalu. Almost like rationalist, means Yuktivadi. So he is not superstitious actually. He believes in reason, and he is not sure about religion or God and all that. That's why he is skeptic. But let's see what he does. In spite of being a skeptic and rationalist, trying every curse and blessing. So he is also cursing the scorpion, definitely, just like other people. And then he is using other medicines like powder, mixture, herb and hybrid. So in village and also you find a lot of herbal medicine there. At home also you find different bottles and all that. So whatever was available there, the father is trying to use that for this scorpion sting. He even poured a little paraffin. Paraffin here means kerosene upon the bitten toe and put a match to it. അദ്ദേഹം അവസാനം കുറച്ച് മണ്ണ് ആ കല്ലിലേക്ക് ഒഴിച്ചിട്ട് കത്തിച്ചു. So you can imagine. That means he is very desperate. He is trying all that he could to solve this problem. I watched the flame feeding on my mother. Yes, the poet was maybe a small boy at that time. So he could only watch in horror that act of burning. Actually, it is not actually very serious, but still when you put some kerosene on your part of your body and burn it is still painful. That's why the flame feeding on my mother. That means the mother is still suffering that burning sensation. Then I watched the holy man perform his rites to tame the poison with an incantation. So you have another person there, holy man, maybe a religious priest. He is also doing his part by chanting mantrocharana, rites and all that, pujas, everything he is doing. So whatever is possible, everybody is offering their bit, contributing their might in order to cure this mother of that scorpion sting. Incantation means chanting these mantras. So after 20 hours it lost its sting. It took 20 hours for the pain to go or subside. And we come to the last part of the poem, the reaction of the mother. That is something we have to analyze. What did the mother say? The mother only said, "Thank God, the scorpion picked on me and spared my children." So here it shows the attitude of the mother. All the mothers are like that. So she is very happy that the scorpion did not sting her children. The scorpion spared them and went for the mother. So mother is able to suffer. So she is happy that her children are safe even though she is in pain. So she is thanking God for that, for sparing the children, for not harming the children. So this shows the selfless nature of a mother. Now we have seen the structure and language of the poem. The poem is written in free verse. Free verse means not following the strict rules of rhyme, rhythm, meter and all that. With varying line lengths and no rhyme. So some of the lines are very long and others are very short. But in this slide, of course, I have not followed strictly the exact lines. Some of the lines are actually very long, but for the sake of PowerPoint, I have cut them short. If you can see the original script, which I will send you, you can see the exact length of each line. The first part is long and full of activity. The scorpion's bite and the reaction of the villagers. So the whole poem is can be divided into two. First, you have the action, how the scorpion is stinging, and the reaction of the peasants, the villagers. They come and they pray and they try to justify and all that, their philosophy, ideologies and all that are coming in. And second part, which is very very short, is the reaction of the mother, which is only 3 lines. Language. Think about how the language the poet uses helps to convey his ideas. Here are some points to consider. The title is in some ways deceptive. So when you look at the title, The Night of the Scorpion, you will find we at least anticipate that we are going to see a lot of actions regarding the scorpion, but unfortunately the focus is not on the scorpion. The focus is actually on the people and how they react and all that. So it leads us to believe we are in for a frightening and dramatic tale with a scorpion taking center stage and all that. But in fact, the poem is not about the scorpion at all, but about the reaction of different people to its sting. So that's what the poem is trying to focus on. The poem starts off in the first person, the I or we used by a narrator who is a participant in a narrative, in contrast to the third person, he, she or they of a narrator who is not directly involved. So when he is starting the poem with the I, that means he is there in the midst of that action. He is also part of that whole scene. It's not third person. If third person means it is somebody's business and not yours. So here the poet is also involved in this incident. Ezekiel describes an event that really happened. Yes, it's not just a story, it just really happened in his life. However, he does not give his own feelings or reactions. We realize he is merely the narrator. So his feelings are not very important here. He is actually analyzing the feelings of the peasants, the villagers. Most of the poem is in the third person. The verb form that indicates the action is being done neither by the speaker, I, nor by the person being addressed, you. It's always in the third person, but by a third person as a he, she or they, as Ezekiel reports on what other people do and say. So though he is there, but he is not actually explaining what he feels or his experience, but he is trying to explain or trying to narrate how other people feel about the incident, mostly the villagers' feelings. Ezekiel does not portray the scorpion as a villain. It was driven to shelter beneath a sack of rice. So, scorpion is not actually the villain here. It is. It just happened like that. After 10 hours of rain, of course, he needed some shelter. That's why he is coming into the house. It probably stung the poet's mother instinctively as a warning to her when she approached his hiding place, rather than harming her on purpose. So definitely these creatures don't attack humans purposely. It is an instinct. When an animal is attacking, actually it is trying to save itself. There is an instinct given to all the animals to protect itself, not that it wanted to harm the mother. And having delivered the sting, scared of the people indoors. Of course, there is a reaction of that. People got scared. And of course, he risks the rain again. He is going out into the rain after that. However, the villagers are more superstitious and link the scorpion to the evil one. So, the villagers are using their imagination and think that the scorpion is actually a symbol of evil. They claim that the poison will help in many ways. Yes. For example, by burning away the sins of the woman's former life, a previous birth, and ease her life after this one. So, how they are trying to see something positive in that, that this pain will burn away her sins of the past, and it will also reduce her suffering in the next birth and all that. Perhaps this is their way of making sense of the event. If good comes out of it, it is easier to bear. So when we feel that because of my suffering something good will come, then your suffering has a meaning, otherwise it is meaningless. So the villagers trying to find some meaning in that painful misfortune. The events of the night are described in rich detail. We know about the mud hut and the candles and lanterns, yet we know little about the individual neighbors. So here the poet is purposely not focusing on the individuals there. It's only the group. For them the individuals are not important. Ezekiel lumps the neighbors together as they. Lumps means group them. So So these people who are superstitious, they are illiterate, so they are put together as a group, and he is referring to them as they. And what effect does this have? Actually, he is trying to tell the readers that these people have no reason or kind of logic behind. Logical thinking is lacking there. They are just superstitious. Ezekiel's father is usually a skeptic and a rationalist. In other words, he does not believe in superstitions and is not religious. Yes, that is very clear. Yet, when his wife is suffering, he tries every curse and blessing to help her. So, this is another very interesting fact to note. Even atheists who doesn't believe in God and all that, when they face some kind of problems, they call God. That is something very strange. This is one example of that. His father, who is kind of not very religious person, but still he is praying and trying everything possible. The line, after 20 hours it lost its sting, is a put down. Nothing worked at all after all. Put down here means a kind of negative remark. That means the line, after 20 hours it lost its sting. That means whatever the people did had no effect. It was useless. The pain went on its own. That's the meaning. That means their prayers, their medicine, nothing had any effect on the pain. The final three lines are poignant. We hear Ezekiel's mother's exact words. Poignant means very touching, emotional. The words of the mother. Her simple speech is in contrast to the gabbling neighbors. Gabbling means those noisy neighbors. People are making a lot of noise. But you find the simple words or the lines of the mother very meaningful. She doesn't show any bitterness about her ordeal. Ordeal means suffering. She is not very upset about it. തേള് കടിച്ചതിനോർത്ത് വ്യസനിക്കുകയോ അല്ലെങ്കിൽ വേവലാതിപ്പെടുകയോ ചെയ്യുന്നില്ല ഈ അമ്മ. She is just grateful that she was the one who was hurt rather than her children. So the mother is very happy that she is the one who was suffering, not the children. അതൊരു അമ്മയുടെ ഒരു എന്താ പറയുക ആറ്റിറ്റ്യൂഡാണത്. മക്കൾ സേഫാണ് എന്നറിയുമ്പോഴത്തെ സന്തോഷം. So you find many mothers are sacrificing their lives for the children. It is same way. ഒരു അമ്മ എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞാൽ നമ്മുടെ അവരുടെ കുട്ടികൾക്ക് വേണ്ടി എന്ത് ത്യാഗം ചെയ്യാനും സന്നദ്ധമായൊരു മനസ്സാണ് അമ്മയുടെ. അതാണ് ഇവിടെ പോയറ്റ് വരച്ചു കാണിക്കുന്നത്. So with that we come to the end of this poem. I hope you really enjoyed this poem. So have a great day ahead of you. Goodbye.